Summer is in full swing, and in the Brawlhalla world, that means the Heatwave event has arrived. But as always, you know I wouldn't be making this video without some balance changes, so we got those on deck too. Let's begin. Kicking it off, we've got two new summer-themed skins, Thor by the Shore and Brawl Dad Isaiah. I think both of these look really great. I think the weapon skins on both of them are also really great, so big props to BMG for these two new ones. But on top of that, every single previous exclusive summer skin is available to buy in the Brawlhalla for a limited time. So that's Wipeout Nyx, Dog Days Mordex, Atlantean Orion, Water Wars Cross, and Pool Party Diana. I own none of those. Woo! Maybe I'll buy Dog Days Mordex or the Brawl Dad Isaiah. Maybe. Probably not. If you're like me and you have no Mammoth coins, don't worry about it. You can unlock exclusive Heatwave colors for every single legend with in-game gold until the event is over. And to help you out, BMG, they hooked you up with new login gold, a little bit of bonus on top of the daily rewards, so you get those colors just a little bit faster. There's also a new Heatwave 2019 podium available. I don't own any podiums, so gonna have to pass on that one too. There's also a new Hot Lava KO effect, if you're a fan of those. The little sidekick surfer animated summer avatar is back. I don't think that's the actual name, but it should be. As well as a core popsicle avatar, and you can buy that one with gold, so you don't gotta worry about breaking the wallet. The Brawl of the Week is Snow Brawl, but instead of using little snowballs, you get some nice water balloons. So there's a little theme there. And to celebrate the 2019 Summer Championships, which by the way you can watch, twitch.tv/Brawlhalla, stay tuned for that. There's a Summer Shard avatar, there's an exclusive Gauntlet weapon skin, and there's a lot of money on the line. So you can compete in that if you want. Alright, now we're getting into some content that affects competitive play. In tournaments, Small Thunderguard Stadium is gone. Thank you, BMG! That gets me pumped. They're replacing it with Apocalypse. Apocalypse now with some adjusted kill boxes, so that's pretty big. And also on top of that, you can select only tournament legal maps in the ranked section, the ranked queue, whatever. I'm pumped, okay? We've been asking for this for so long. And this shows that BMG is listening. Thank you. This makes ranked so much better. Like, actually, so much better. But with that, we close out maybe the longest content overview I've done in these kinds of videos. And it's on to balance. Axe received two major changes in the patch, and by major changes, I mean complete rework. Dare and Ground Pound now operate as they did with the test features in Experimental, which is a huge change. Dare now has a completely unique landing animation, which has a hitbox in front, slightly above, and slightly behind. This Dare can true combo into downlight pretty easily, and sidelight if your spacing is right, which means that Dare, sidelight, nair can be very consistent. Before you could hit it with the very end hitbox of the down air, but now, of course, it's consistent. The recovery time of landing Dare is so much less than the aerial version 2. To give you an idea, if you whiff an aerial Dare, you have 28 variable frames of recovery. The new grounded Dare has 6. You can also do Dare into SIGs, like Dare into Jala N-Sig, for example, is a really good string. Dare into Teros N-Sig at low HPs, that's unjumpable. There's a lot of different stuff, a lot to experiment with, but it's not all good for Axe Dare. It no longer has the aerial sweet spot and now does a lot less force than before, so it'll be much harder to kill off stage, but obviously way more effective on stage. So there's a little bit of tweak in there, but luckily for Axe, the reverse was changed with the Ground Pound. Axe Ground Pound is now a usable on-stage neutral tool as well as an incredible off-stage tool. It's actually just insane. Like, basically, if you don't know, it was changed to only have one spin instead of two, and it also doesn't completely stop you in your tracks. You carry a little bit of momentum. And on top of that, when you're spinning, you float in the air so you don't just fall down to your death. This makes it a lot safer and a lot scarier. It's like a giant guitar nair. Think about that for a second. A giant guitar nair. It's not completely 100% a buff. I would still say it's like a giant positive change, because it does lose a little bit of the multi-dodge punish option, so you could do dare into jump ground pound or sidelight nair ground pound to cover like 5 dodges, because it would spin twice and hit the early hitboxes, would hit the close ones, the late hitboxes would hit the far ones. That's a mouthful. It won't do that anymore. Maybe you can still pull something off if you time it correctly, but honestly, even with that removed, Axe is just, I think it's a lot stronger now. Like, a lot stronger now. It is very scary to be edge guarded by an Axe that can, if you think about it, they jump up, float with a spinning ground pound, and then right when it's over, they can just return to the exact same spot they were. Like, that is terrifying. Again, giant Qatar Nair. I'm willing to bet that people will complain endlessly about this for, I don't know, maybe just like 2 weeks, because most people aren't open to change, but then they get used to it and find something else to complain about. Either way, I'm very happy to see that BMG is willing to rework some of the older weapons to have new mechanics, and I'm very excited to see what they do in the future. Guns got one change, but it's a big change. Enlight now has 2 frames of extra stun on the final hit, meaning that Enlight into Nair is true at all HP values. That's right, true. Okay. I don't think Guns needed this at all, but it's a pretty big change. Every Enlight, given that you land the first hit, will do 33 damage. Even if you only land the second hit, that's 29 damage. Okay. On top of that, low HP values, downlight into chase dodge, diagonal up air, into Enlight, into Nair. That 4-piece true combo, that's right, true combo is, I don't even know, it's like 55 damage or something. I'm not like math wizard. You can start with a falling Sair, you can get Sair into downlight, into Sair, into Enlight, into Nair, completely true. Except that one, okay, that one you can DI the second Sair, but still, you get what I'm saying here. Downlight into Enlight into Nair is also a viable true combo if you hit the downlight stacked, but the most likely scenario you'll see a 3-piece is Sair, or I guess falling Sair is the more accurate term, into Enlight into Nair, which in my opinion is just too strong. Like, I don't think Guns needed this. I think Enlight was a little weak. I think the sirens in the background are a little strong, but okay, that's just okay. I don't really know why this was changed. I'm not really a big fan of it. I think people are overreacting though. Obviously, with that being said, these crazy high damage combos, it's not like Guns got a whole new option or anything. Enlight into Nair was already a pretty tight, I believe if you hit it correctly, it's a 1-frame dodge window. It was already pretty tight. It's a dodge punish, but honestly, I don't think Guns needed this. I think they're pretty strong regardless. I was a fan of the Enlight dodge mix-up minigames, and I guess those can still exist, but I mean, at low HP, the best option is almost always just to go for the true Nair. I hope this is reverted. I hope Enlight is changed in a different way, but yeah, I do think people are overreacting. I don't think Guns are top tier because of this or anything like that. Spear ground pound was changed to be a little bit safer and stun a little bit longer, but in return it got slightly less force. So that's -2 frames of recovery on both the aerial and the grounded version, and +3 frames of stun, so it's harder to be punished when you hit it at low HP. So that change by itself, those would make it marginally earlier, or kill marginally earlier I should say, because you're going to be in stun for slightly longer, but obviously that's not going to happen given that the force is now reduced. So a little bit of a side grade for Spear Ground Pound. It's not too big of a change, so it doesn't really make that much of a difference, and it's on a move that not a ton of usage, at least compared to every other move in the kit. So I think it's whatever. It's just a little side grade. First up, we got Artemis. Artemis's Lance side sig was changed to be a little bit safer in both the movement and recovery frames, so it got -3 frames of recovery, which is actually very noticeable. 3 frames doesn't seem like much, but if you play Artemis, you'll notice the difference. Also, it has increased movement both before and after the little explosion burst, so that is also a little thing that makes it a little bit harder to punish. Hopefully, it'll see more utility. It'll definitely make it a little more difficult to punish at the very least, but I think the sig is basically still the same. Dusk received a couple recovery frame buffs, with Spear side sig getting -3 frames of recovery and Spear down sig getting -2 frames. Hopefully this puts both of those more in line with Spear end sig, but I mean, it's still Dusk. Like, both of these SIGs still pale in comparison to the Adas, to the Wushangs of the world. Dusk has a pretty solid Spear SIG and Spear End SIG. Spear Side SIG is pretty good, but it has some startup, and Spear Down SIG is just way too punishable for the reward. I really think Dusk is a little underwhelming on the Spear front, again, with exception of that End SIG. So hopefully this will help him out at least a little bit. Isaiah received a handful of small buffs to his Guns Down SIG, an increased hitbox on the initial laser, and increased force on every version of the explosion, which by the way I didn't even realize there were so many different versions, so I guess that's pretty cool. But it's still Isaiah Gun Down SIG. Like, I feel like even if this SIG gets a ton of different buffs in different directions, hitboxing, recovery frames, and all that, it'll still probably not see that much usage. It's pretty niche. The range of it is not that good enough to hover around the edge all the time and use it like Ragnar Qatar Down SIG, for example. It's okay. I mean, buff for Isaiah is always good, I guess. Kaya's Spear Side SIG was changed to go a little bit further before the final strike, which I'm personally a fan of whenever I used her, which is not that frequently, mind you. I always felt like it didn't go as far as I thought it would, or as far as I wanted it to. Then again, I don't actually notice this change, and maybe that's because I don't play a lot of Kaya, but either way, it'll maybe make this SIG a little bit scarier, given that it's pretty hard to react to, and it'll go a little bit further than before. But in my opinion, it's still just a weaker version of Nash Spear Side SIG. Ulgrim's Lance Down SIG was changed to have less recovery frames, but I mean, that's not the problem with the SIG. Obviously, if someone's using the chainsaw and they're holding it down, punishing the recovery frames isn't going to be the problem. It's more so the active frames. So I'm a fan of this change. It's similar to the gun side SIG on Ada a while back, where you're punishing that in the active frames, so it's not going to have a lot of recovery frames. Same deal. But that's not the only change. His Lance side SIG now has 2 frames of faster startup, which actually spooks me a little bit, given that it kind of has crazy knockout potential. 2 frames, maybe it's not a huge deal, but it definitely is noticeable. Zariel got a small buff, minus 2 frames of recovery on their Gauntlet Down SIG. I don't know. Maybe the SIG needed it, maybe it didn't. It was a little bit slow, especially compared to some of Zariel's other SIGs, like Gauntlet End SIG, for example. That thing is just insane. But, I don't know. Maybe this change will get more people to play Zariel, and I guess that's a kind of win. I've always said that they're super underrated, and it's kind of a shame that they have slow movement speed, because I would probably play a lot more Zariel if it wasn't for that. But it is what it is. Small buff. Yay, Zariel players. Katars did not get touched. So it looks like what I said in the Adventure Time patch review is going to be true after all. Summer 2019, the era of Katars. I don't think the guns or spear changes are nearly big enough to warrant a complete shift in the meta, especially the spear ones. I mean, that's just ground pound. I will say guns are a lot stronger now, but given that they tend to struggle against Katars, pretty much universally agreed to be the strongest weapon, and they also struggle against Orb, which is a weapon that is quickly gaining popularity. I don't know if they'll be able to reach the tippy top of the tier list like in the Golden Gun ages. I still think they're strong. Again, the only thing that was changed was Endlight, which was already a pretty hit or miss move. It's very strong, does a bunch of damage, especially now, 33 off of single Endlight, but it is punishable. So again, it is what it is. I think guns are a little stronger. I definitely think people are overreacting. They see the insane true combo and they're like, oh my god, guns, top tier. But it's not like that combo didn't exist before. It's only the very last part of it that's also true now. That's it. Axe is such a wild card right now. Seeing as one central move in the kit and one rare move in the kit were completely changed, so now one of the central moves has a completely different use and now the rare move is very usable, it's hard to judge how good it actually is. I'm willing to bet that a lot of people are going to try out Axe right away because of the changes, but then maybe a couple weeks down the line, go back to their old main, start playing Hattori, start playing Jala. Wait, Jala has Axe. Petra. That's usually what happens whenever a big change comes up in Brawlhalla. A lot of people flock to it, and then they go back to their old main. I guess that happens in every game. It seems like Axe's on-stage game has been buffed, and off-stage has had its power shifted around from Dare to Ground Pound, which I see as an overall buff, but maybe you see it a little differently. I don't know. Either way, this was a pretty huge patch. I don't think it'll be meta shifting as much as the Adventure Time patch was. I think Axe will be on the rise, of course, because of this, and I think guns maybe a little bit, but Katars still rule the game. at least in my opinion. But there we have it, Heatwave Summer 2019. Thanks for watching my little video, and I'll see you whenever there's another balance patch in one of these actually edited videos.